Hello there everybody, it is Reggie time from my YouTube channel and I'm doing my first live sweat video for a while. I haven't done one of these for ages just because I thought I'd change it up just a little bit, do something different, not always do the same thing, but with playing on Unibet it's kind of hard to find a format that works when it comes to making videos because there's no like hand history record. There's nothing we can't just go back and like review hands. So because of that, and I've been min raced here by somebody who doesn't have any money, probably just for value. It's just for value. We're drawing too thin, so we're just going to fold. If I'm wrong, and he ends up being the kind of guy who min races a lot, maybe we can make some adjustments there. Very easy c-bet here on the Jack 9-8 and make everything a little bit bigger on Unibet because players are worse, so I'm not as worried about balance. I'm not as worried about balance because it's a semi-anonymous site, so I don't have to worry about protecting check-in ranges or anything silly like that. I think we're just going to fold there. Again, it's a 3-bet pot is min raised. It looks like he wants to build a big pot, and I don't want to with just my gut shot. I guess we're just going to fold here and snap down here. Oops, we got sucked out on, which is nothing which we can do about that. It's unfortunate. I have been running pretty salty this week, to be honest with you. It's not been the best of weeks in terms of all in EV. It's impossible to track that on Unibet because as we know, we can't track the hands. I know for a fact that Hold'em indicator does work on this site, but there's no way I'm going to use it. I don't even think it's against the terms and conditions. I've had some people tell me that there's nothing explicit in the terms and conditions that forbids the usage of it, but at the same time, it's not something I'm prepared to do. Not sure it's not right in terms of the spirit of what the people at Unibet are trying to achieve with this site and the way they're going about things. And I think I put integrity above gaining an edge, albeit whatever it's going to be a small edge too, because we don't see players from one day to the next. There are the occasional players that we do see time and again who don't change their aliases, but with Unibet you can, as you can see, you can play up to 5 different aliases, up to 5 different aliases, sorry, at any one time, and you can change your 3 of those aliases on a daily basis. So it's really quite easy to protect yourself against becoming exploited by people who are using stats, who are using tracking software. Yeah, they may get 100 or so hands on me during any one session, I guess, maybe more even, but it's not such a big issue to me. And like I said, I'm going to put my integrity before some small edge. Now, if Unibet were to come out and say, yep, this is definitely legal, we don't mind you doing it, which is something that I haven't checked up on, I would probably go ahead and use it, but until I get some kind of I haven't even gone and looked into it, to be honest with you. It's not something I'm that interested in, but maybe I'll ask on 2+2, see what the rep says. And there's a very, very good rep there, is Andrew. Maybe I'll go and ask him and just ask him flat out, look, we know it works on your site. What's your thoughts on people using it? Because if other people are using it and it's legal and they don't mind, it'd be silly not to use it. I don't think you get that much of an extra advantage from using it, but there probably is some small advantage. So it'd be silly not to if it was completely legitimate, but I very much doubt it is. I don't think Unibet go to the trouble of making a site like this with these kinds of values and then say, you know what, fuck it. Just go ahead and use tracking software, we don't care. Don't think that'd be their position. with me six tabling, it might not be. There'll be some things that I do that I won't really talk about too much because I'll be doing things at other tables. It's going to be quite hard to track. If you do see anything that you don't understand or you just think is bad and you want to ask me about, then please do leave a comment wherever you find the video. I'd be more than happy to respond, but please do timestamp it so I can go back and find the spot quickly rather than just say, oh, you folded ace-10 suited on the button at some random point in the video which you don't mention. It's too difficult for me to go back and find it there. If you want to discuss something specifically from the video, please do timestamp it. King 5 suited. Then we can let that go from the cutoff. Yeah, as I said earlier, it's been a bit of a up and down week for me. I think I started playing. I think I played 3 nights. The third night in a row I played on Unibet now. And the first night I dropped, I think it was about 4 or 5 buy-ins, and didn't really think I did very much wrong, to be honest with you. There was just a succession of like either coolers or bad beats stuck out, that type of thing. And last night I had a good session. It went well, and then this is my first session of the day, and as you've already seen, we've not got off to the most stellar of starts. But again, there's nothing much we can do. We get it in for 60 bigs with a hand that's absolutely crushing our opponent, and unfortunately he gets there. Whatever, not much we can do. And then we had a couple of smallish pots where we just haven't flopped well, and we had to concede the pot to aggression. So it's not the end of the world. None of that's the end of the world. It's going to happen a lot, and it happens a lot more on softer sites than it does on tougher sites, or on tighter sites, should I say. These games are undoubtedly have worse players in than the BetMost games that have been playing this on the iPoker network. But in lots of ways, then I find the iPoker network a little bit easy because they're all like weak, tight regulars. I suspect some robots, and we use stats, so it's not the hardest to exploit. My problem with it is I just don't find it anything even close to rewarding or stimulating. I just don't like doing it. I'd probably rather play in these games 6 table them, have less information to hand, and I think I enjoy it more. I just enjoy it more. It's not as formulaic, it's not as robotic, call it what you will. There's loads of things we can call it. It's not any of those things. We can quickly try and make some reads on who the fish are, who the fish aren't, and we've got them at our tables, we can look to exploit them more, whereas if we do finally find a fish in a speed poker pool, we maybe get to play almost no hands with them. Whereas on these tables, if we find a fish, we're going to get to play as many hands as we need to play with them. Unless they leave, of course. And we're just giving up here on this board against this player. Don't expect him to be making any folds of any pairs. Well, not any pairs. And maybe he folds a deuce or something, but he's certainly not going to fold a set of deuces, I wouldn't have thought. Well, we're getting 3 better. Look, we can call this one because it's smaller. We're getting 3 bet all over the place. Which is just whatever, who cares? We just make a decision based on the situation, how much it's going to cost us, etc. And I'm not one for set mining out of position usually, but when somebody just asks me to put in like 5 and a bit more blinds, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just put the call in and hope to hit. This is the 3rd time, or it's the 2nd time, this person's gone all in pre-flop with a huge over bet. They haven't done it enough yet to make me want to call as light as ace jack. I think I'll probably snap with ace queen there and maybe pocket 8 or something, but ace jack might be just a little too light. If they'd done it maybe a couple more times, I could maybe have seen myself making a loose call, but not there. And we'll see bet in the 7s there, it's a dry board and we're just going to get a ton of folds, which is fine. Yeah, it's not really a value bet, it's not really a bluff, but he just picks us up the pot. And in situations like that, where we just got 2 sevens on that kind of board, we're happy just to pick the pot up. If we get called, we're probably going to be done with it. Could have said the same for this pocket twos, pocket deuces. Difference being we are out of position this time, and doing out of position, it's just much harder to pick up the pot. People can float us much lighter. People just make life harder if it's in position. Once 2 people check on the dry board, I'm happy to take a stab. We're going to go for a check raise here with that. We've basically rivered the nuts. It's not quite the nuts, but it's close enough. And we were going to hope our opponent was maybe going to take a river stab, but he didn't. I just didn't think he had anything. I mean, the way the hands played out, it's just so hard for him to have a hand. I'm just going to hope he's going to bluff. With the 8s here. 3-bet, probably going to 5-bet shove it if we get called. If we get 4-bet, sorry. You might have noticed there is no auto top up on Unibet when I'm just 2-tabling or something. I'm pretty much on the ball with keeping the auto top up topped up when I'm 6-tabling, and I'm talking on a video. There's going to be times when my stack's going to drop. I would imagine I'm just going to call with his Queen Jack, try and bring Downhill into the pot, because Downhill looks like he's the guy we want to be playing pots with at this table. And we flop a topperst pair, which is a good start. Makes a pretty small c-bet. No reason to do anything except call, wouldn't have thought. And we've had a really small 3-bet here. This could be a misclick, so we're going to just going to call for now. I'm a little bit worried about this Queen Jack hand. We need double barrels. If he's not bluffing, we probably were in bad shape. Maybe we're not in bad shape anymore. Now we've rivered trips. Or maybe we're in the worst possible shape. Who knows? We're not going to fold the Queen Jack though on the bottom tier. We've rivered trips. If he's value betting, we're beat. We are beat. But there are some like pretty bad aggressive players on this site. And he wasn't value betting, so goes. I would say the typical, it's hard to be really specific, but how I would go about profiling the regulars on Unibet, they're definitely more aggressive than most regulars, but in a bad way, not in a good way. They're aggressive, but they're also very stationary when you're betting into them. So if you let them, if they've got the initiative and you let them keep the initiative, quite often they will go ahead and just bluff their stacks off. But the other way around is, if you've got the initiative, you're the one doing the betting, and they have a piece, they seem to be very sticky. It doesn't seem to be too hard to get value on this site. I haven't really tried getting out of line with the bluffs because we don't struggle to get value, or because I haven't struggled getting value. I think by default that means it's going to be harder to get bluffs through. So I haven't really been bluffing too much. There's some spots where I've been bluffing where I just think that my opponent's range is really capped and he can't have anything very strong. But I'm not bluffing as anywhere near as frequently as I would do on some other sites. That's for absolute sure. And it would just call the sevens. Last time we 3-bet the 8s. Oh, we will not turn avatar. Go was 3-bet the 8s, but it was a larger open. When it's just a min raise, I'm more than happy to just call most of the time. Can't wait to see my new avatar. That's one of the most exciting things that's ever happened to me. I think because of his really small bet here, we're just going to try and raise and just try and win the pot right now. See if we can get him to fold like King, Queen, Ace, 10, that type of thing. It's not the worst result in the world. This is just an attack on the bet size. His min raise, and he just put a half pot c bet out on the dry board. I think he's going to have a lot of air here, but I'm more than happy just to have him fold rather than get into some weird check call guessing game with a hand that really can't take 3 streets of pressure. And 3 spins on the Unibet open slot. We'll do that later, I think. I think I need to be try to qualify for Unibet open 3 rolls through slot machines. It's not really something that I'm into. It's closest. I think we're just going to go for a small isolation raise, which is definitely some kind of sizing tell, because my initial if he had a bigger stack or had a stronger hand, I would have made that 115. So we're definitely giving something away there against anyone that maybe might know us, but again, because of the situation that we do, it was sort of semi-anonymous on this site. I'm not that worried. He may just realise that's just like a weak isolation attempt, though. Perhaps I shouldn't have done that, but it's just more likely he just had a strong hand, I would guess. Don't really want to go giving people too much credit in these games at this limit for attacking, sizing things pre-flop. Some players will do it. That's unquestionable. There will be some players good enough to do it, but there won't be enough for me to be too worried about it. I wouldn't have thought. That is a broad assumption, but I think it's a reasonable one. Completely bricked here with the ace queen, but it's a pretty dry board, so we can definitely see it at least once, maybe consider barreling some turns. That being one of them. Jack of Diamonds, not the river card that I was hoping to see, that's for sure. Going to value a bit small and just hope he's got like a King 10, King Queen type of hand that he just doesn't fold. Of course we're going to be beat some of the time. That's not a good card for us in any way. King Jack gets there, Diamonds obviously get there, but still don't really want to just check fold in that spot. I think we can still get some value. Wow, that's an enormous raise. Good for him. Just a fold. I mean, maybe we could just check fold that river, but I think we make it small enough, we can certainly get some calls from worse hands. I don't know anything about Waka Waka. I don't know any of the tables, I'm not sure. 7-9 suited, but let's let it go. Waka Waka's at least 2 tables, I can see. Yeah, just 2 tables. Now it could be that Waka Waka's playing more tables under different aliases, or more tables under the alias Waka Waka that I'm just not sat at. It could be that Waka Waka's a regular. But that sizing seemed really it seemed fishy to me. So if Waka Waka is a regular, I'm going to assume by that sizing it looks like they just mashed pot. And didn't really put any thought into the raise size other than I have the nuts and I'm going to smack pot. Could be wrong, could be doing Waka Waka a disservice, but I expect I'm not. Ace 2 stop. It's the second time or maybe the third time I've seen him raise his button in short order, which is going to make some random 3-bet bluff, just to see how he responds to 3 bets with a hand that's got some blocking qualities. Could squeeze here with the Queen 10 suited, but I think it's going to play okay in a multi-way pot, so I don't mind taking it multi-way. It's a weird kind of board for us here. We've kind of flopped bits and pieces of equity. But we don't really want to be calling too many large bets. We're just going to try and keep the pot small still here. Probably fall into a raise. So probably fall into a bet, sorry, should I say. These games seem a bit well, we can't say reggish because we haven't got stats, but they seem a bit different than they were last night. I think it's just like luck of the draw with the tables that you get assigned. If I was playing and I wasn't making a video, there's maybe a couple of tables here. I'd be like, well, I don't think this is a good table. I can maybe do better. I'd maybe be cutting a couple of the tables out, but I think we're fine for now. I'm not too worried. So we flopped sort of shitty pair here. Again, it's going to bet, try and pick the pot up. Can't really call this someone that bets the turn anyway. So it's not like we got a hand where we can look to make some big call downs on turns or rivers. So I'm happy just to pick the pot up here. Who knows? Maybe we get called by some worse gut shots, that type of thing. And when we do get called, I am now officially just firmly in give up unless I improve mode. Don't improve, so I'm certainly not going to call in river bets here. I think we're just going to lose. But we do beat some 9x. So I don't think we need to bluff here. Wow, he did have the draw. I'm glad he didn't bluff me, or try to bluff me. Float here on the bottom right table. Look to hopefully try and pick the pot up later on a later street, or sometimes just hit and hope that we improve to the best hand. I'm not sure I'm going to do if he bet the river. I think when he doesn't bet the river here, I think he's always on some kind of bluff catch line. I think my problem is, does he hero call with jacks? I guess we're just going to check back. And he was just randomly bluffing, so he wasn't calling anyway. But in those spots, if we go bet, check, quite often they're going to be like bluff catching. I think my issue there is that he can have some better hands that he's bluff catching with. I mean, he can just definitely sometimes check aces, kings, king, queen, that type of thing there. And I think we'd have the time to try and work out if there was like more combos of things he would check that were beat by and things that would call if we went for like a bet. If I was going to bet there, I would probably go for an overbet to try and I don't know why, just to try and represent some bluffs, I guess. Because if we just make a smallish value bet, I don't know. Who knows? I might be talking complete twaddle there. In fact, I think I probably am talking twaddle, but it kind of felt like I think I should probably have bet. I had slight kicker issues. No, I'm not sure. There's certainly not my explanation of the hand. I didn't explain it very well at all, so I apologise for that when it came to the river. Yeah, I guess my main concern there was that he may have a better hand that he's checking in order to induce some bluffs from me or some thin value bets or whatever. So I just bottled out of it. It's not often I bottle out of making the small value bets either, the thin value bets. As we saw earlier, it's something I'm not that worried about doing. I'm quite happy to make thin value bets, but that spot there, something didn't feel right. I guess we're just going to stack off here against Matolo in a 3-bet pot. Not too much 9x he can have, I guess. The ace is not pleasant. I think betting there will be borderline suicidal, so we won't do it. We might call the river, depending on the size. I mean, I don't think you can have too much 9x. Yeah, you could float some ace-x, I guess. But there's a lot of draws that have missed. And, well, that wasn't one of the hands I was expecting that he might be able to have, but again, we'll certainly take it. I'm just going to continue barreling here. Picked up the not flush draw to go with our top pair, and we river trips. It makes it hard for us to get called here, but we're still going to jam, obviously. I mean, there's lots of worse aces you can have. I think it's just starting to pick up nicely for us now. We're starting to get a feel for our tables. We're seeing some players limping that we're being able to exploit, and quite often the start of a session on Unibet can be the hardest part of it, as you're just like everything's new to you all the time. But after maybe a few orbits, it's like the old like the rounders saying goes, I guess. It's cheesy and it's not actually like completely true in these situations, but if you're at a table and you can't spot the fish within your first few rounds, then maybe not you are the fish. I'm not going to go as far as say we are the fish, but you're the fish if you stay at the tables. If you stay at any table where you can't spot a fish when you're playing regular tables, then yeah, you're doing something wrong. There's just no reason to ever stay at bad tables when we're just playing regular tables. Although many players do. I've seen it many times on many sites. Players just playing each other because either they don't understand game selection, they're too lazy to game select properly. Who knows what it is? But yeah, I've seen enough players that don't game select very well to make me understand that not everybody does it. So we've got 2 overs and a good shot. If we hit the 5, it might get us paid 2 if he has some kind of ace. King Queen off. We're going to call with a King Queen off. I think it's too strong to fold. Just to 1-3 bet. Check back with my 60s here. Really don't want to get raised. If we bet again, I think it'd be really quite a disaster for us to get raised. And that was whether we can raise or not. And we're not. We're just going to take again. Wow, we got there with the King 3. Never mind. I'm glad he just min bet because he could have possibly got some more from me. So you can see now, we're starting to see players for what they really are. Thierry a moment ago had over a full stack. I think he did anyway. And we didn't know if he was like a regular or a bad player. Now we're just very confident that Thierry's a bad player, given that the way he played that river. And now it's him limping. We just notice more and more as we go through the session. We notice more and more. We've got another limper here now, and the game's actually starting to resemble good games all of a sudden. From when I thought previously, maybe just 15 minutes ago, I was saying, or 10 minutes ago, saying maybe these games aren't so great. All of a sudden, I'm at 3 or 4 tables that feel really good. And which is why it kind of rewards us. That was a bad mistake from me. I should absolutely see about that flop. Big mistake. I wasn't concentrating. Yeah, we got it through anyway. So what we need to do when we're playing on regular tables, particularly on sites like this, we need to put long sessions in and develop, so we can actually develop reads on players and actually make the most of them. It's not like other formats of the game where you can play short, sharp sessions. I think when you sit down and play a session on Unibet, you need to be sitting down, be prepared to put a good 3 or 4 hour session in. And then really hope to make the most of any reads that you develop. Hopefully we've got Bob on the hook here, and not quite sure what's going on with the Racula, but we're not folding just yet. The King's not great. We're just going to call him down and hope to win. Oh wow, another King 3. So again, now we've identified Racula as some kind of maybe aggressive fish now, because he's just donk twice there with nothing. and then made a smaller bet when he hit, which doesn't really make much sense. Need to be aware at the top right table with 3-bet Bob twice now in the last 3 orbits. We've had kings both times, but he won't know that. So we need to be aware that there might just be some small mini dynamic forming there. Even though we know we've just had hands, Bob might be getting pissed off with us. So we just need to be aware of that and factor that into any future spots that we might get in with him. Squeezed here against Classy. If he 4-bets, we're just going to flick it in and hope to win. And Classy has gone all in. Time to get lucky, I guess. And we're going to need to get lucky. And we don't. Which is unfortunate, but whatever. You keep betting against Rakula because you could just have all kinds of weird draws, etc. Yeah, you could have a 2, I guess. You could have limped something with a 2 in his hand, but seems like then we're going to try and bluff catch against him because he did show some weird aggression in that last pot that made no sense. And wow, he's just gone on that over bet here, which I kind of want to bluff catch him, but now I'm not so sure. But last time he was betting big, he was bluffing, but he wasn't over betting, so I don't think I'm strong enough to call there. I mean, he could definitely have some kind of 2, I guess. If he's a fish, who knows what kind of 2 he could have, but he can certainly have one. I was hoping to demonstrate how easy it was to get value on Unibet, but we have had some value, but we haven't really been fortunate enough to make any or enough good hands to demonstrate that just yet. We're probably going to go for another 10 minutes or so in the video, so maybe something will come up. We could figure out how to make another video straight after it and just cut them. I would probably make this a 2-session video, but because I lack the technical skills to do that, it won't be happening. Five's not a great card. Barreling on. I guess we're just going to give up. 3-bet Waka Waka. We had deep though, so I need to be aware of that. Really want to get it in here this deep with just 2 10s. At the same time, I think we can definitely get some pre-flop value for it. And I think calling would maybe be a little too weak. So here we go, our friend's donking again. I guess we're just going to call him down. And he checks. And don't want to give him the opportunity to check raise, so we'll check back. And I think we're going to value bet the river. Now he's checked a second time. Who knows what he might be able to call with, but if he just got a random 2 he might call. Who knows? King Queen against somebody we suspect isn't good, so try and keep the pot small pre-flop against people we think aren't good, and then try and bloat it post-flop if or when we make a hand. That's my default strategy, usually against bad players or players who I suspect aren't great. I'm not going to try and bluff somebody who I suspect might not be a good player. I think they're just going to see bet less in general. If they do have some kind of pair, that's less likely to fold it. So all those things go into it. Waka Waka's left both tables now, which is quite pleasant because if he was a regular, it's nice to see them leave. And now we've got two players come to this table, both with less than 100 blind stacks, which is much better than the situation was at this table just a moment or two ago. Make our ranges a little bit bigger when we're going to be in position to two players who we think might be weak. And we're not going to be playing too many small cards at tables, again, where we think people may be weak. Against like fishier players, calling stations, pairs and high cards are what you want to be going with. Pairs and high cards, less of the baby suited connectors, more of the 10-9 off type of thing. We just need to get to go to showdown more often, because we need to choose to play hands that win at showdown more often. And 10-9 off just has more value than 5-4 suited does in those types of situations that we're talking about. So that's why I prefer to do that. It's like an old beluga whale theory from years ago that still 100% holds true in soft tables, in soft games. I'm going to call this mid-race with the Queen 10 because the guy hasn't got a full stack. I'm going to suspect he's not a regular. So therefore I'm going to be looking to play more pots with that player type. Even if it does mean playing hands as weak as Queen 10 off out of position. When he checks back, we're going to assume he doesn't have an ace for the time being and just go ahead and try and bluff now. He absolutely snap called, but fortunately we did river the straight. We're going to bet for value. Hope he just calls with two pairs or whatever. Not going to enjoy it much if I get raised. And he did just check back a weak ace, which meant my flop assumption was wrong, but fortunately that's what equity does for us. We use it when we use equity to be aggressive. Sometimes it just comes and bails us out. And that's why it's always nice to bluff without, rather than just make some random airball bluffs against weak lines. Try and choose spots to bluff where, if you do get called, you're at least going to make a hand some of the time. So we're probably going to go for about 5 more minutes. Hope you enjoyed the video. It's a bit of a throwback to what I used to do. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you prefer these or the hand history videos, or if you like a mix of different formats. I'm going to look to get all the money as quickly as possible against Joper here. If we just stick around on this table up here. Looks like he's just check folding though with his time he's taking. And he was. King Jack off wouldn't always be in my middle position opening range, but this table's shaping up to be really quite good now, this top right table, so I'm going to be opening my ranges in every seat, just to try and play tons of pots. Min raised, got called, and someone's made some stupidly small squeeze, but my hand's just so poor and just, I really don't care, we're just going to fold it and whatever, move on. Right, it's a good flop for 8-6 suited. Big bench. Well played, sir. Keeping my eyes on this bottom left table because if he goes to showdown, I want to see what Vezers had that he min 3 bets with pre-flop. We call classic because we think he's bad. And we don't get to see, which is unfortunate. We're going to bet here against Classy. That bet's too big though. Probably should have made it slightly smaller, and then he snap min raises, which is quite irritating. Which can afford to it because if he's value betting, we're dead. Or virtually dead. I mean, when I see Fish check back flops and that min raise turns, if a regular does that, I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? If Fish doing it, he's just doing it for value. He's just playing his hand really quite badly for value. I'm going to assume that. That's my default assumption in spots like that. Now, if I get to showdown with him and find out that actually when he does that he's fucking around, well then obviously we'll change our read. But my default read on Fish that play the hands like that is usually going to be weirdly played hand for value. Pretty dry flop here with Ace King. Going to make a C bet and see what happens. My big bench. Pocket fives. I think pocket sevens I would call. Pocket fives just a little bit too small, I think. We're not going to try and bluff Joper here. Once he calls the flop, it's an indication that he's probably got either some kind of draw or made hand. The 8 either improves his draws or isn't a scare card to his made hand. So therefore, with that in mind, we're not going to double barrel. So yeah, we are just about at the point where the video is going to end. I hope you've enjoyed it. We're not going to. I would normally wind the session up by closing at big blind at all tables, but as I'm going to continue the session, but not the video, we're just going to say our goodbyes on the run. So I will say goodbye for now. Take care, everybody. When we play this pot out against this guy, we think bluffs a lot. Wow, that is a good turn card. This is going to be a nice way to end the video, hopefully. And he just bombs it in on us. And he wasn't bluffing that time. Never mind, we'll take it. Yeah, so thanks everybody for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the video. It's a bit of a throwback to our old style of videos. And yeah, see you all next time. Take care, be lucky, and have a great time at the tables. Bye bye for now.